So the rumor mill on foldable devices has started to churn, and this leads to some news that finally has piqued my interest so far this year. As you know, we've had two big smartphone launches over the last couple of weeks. Samsung has launched their Samsung S24 Ultra flagship, and OnePlus has finally released their OnePlus 12. So now the top dogs in the Android smartphone space are the S24 Ultra, OnePlus 12, and the Pixel 8 Pro. There's been a whole bunch of content released over the last week or so about those two devices. But quite honestly, for me, I haven't seen anything to get excited about. None of these devices scream must-have. Actually, they scream more of the same to me, which they really are. Yeah, you can say there's some new things there. We have some new AI features that Samsung is touting with the S24, which really they're just coming to kind of match what Pixel released with the Pixel 8 series. And then the OnePlus 12 is really just more of a value flagship. You're gonna get a nice bang for your buck with the OnePlus 12, but there's nothing there that's really exciting. I mean, you've had devices that look pretty much the same for over the last 10 years. We're getting better screens, yes, better cameras, better processors, better battery life. But if you were just looking at someone holding a phone in their hand from 2-3 years ago and holding one of these devices in their hands, are you really gonna be able to tell the difference? Probably not. So this just feels more of the same to me. What about you? Leave some comments in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts on that. If you follow my channel and you saw my thoughts on the Pixel Fold, then you know that I'm very much on the foldable bandwagon. I believe that foldables are the future of smartphones. With some variation here or there, some shape or form, the foldable form factor will be the form factor of the future for new smartphones at some point down the line. Throughout my time as a gadget head, I've never really been drawn to traditional devices. I've always looked for the different devices that the masses didn't really have. Although this channel will be covering traditional devices, the focus will be more on bleeding edge devices that kind of give us the glimpse of what the future will look like in that tech space. With that said, let's jump into the rumor that got the wheels turning for this video. There are a number of websites reporting that Samsung will be making some major changes to their upcoming Z Fold 6. Renders have been created from the Samsung patent listing for the new Z Fold. Before I move any further, let's give credit where credit's due and give a shout out to XLeak7 on Twitter for working with, I think you pronounce it Pigtow or Pigtoe. They both collaborated to bring this leak to us. So credit to XLeak7 and Pigtow. Shout out to you guys. I'll have links in the description that has more details and images of the potentially new Galaxy Z Fold 6 coming at some point this year. So from this render, it looks like Samsung may actually be abandoning the current form factor of the Z Fold 6. They're doing away with the narrow outer display of the Z Fold 6, which to me kind of handicapped the device and made it less comfortable to use as a normal smartphone when the device was closed. So if they do this, this will be a great improvement to the usability of the device. Based on the render, it looks like it's going to be a little shorter, thinner, but wider. Very similar to the Pixel Fold, It looks like it's going to be a little taller than the Pixel Fold. So it could be size-wise in between the Pixel Fold and the OnePlus Open, which is intriguing. See, when we get improvements like this from manufacturers who make these foldables, it drives the other manufacturers to continue to improve their devices. And I think that that's what actually happened last year, which is what motivated this change for Samsung. Because last year it felt like with the Z Fold 5 that they rested on their laurels. Then the Pixel Fold came out with its form factor that so many people loved. It made the Pixel Fold a viable option for them. And then later in the year, the OnePlus Open came out, and they had a better form factor than the Z Fold 5 as well. So a lot of people gravitated towards that. So I think that's what drove Samsung to make this change. And with that, I think it's going to drive Google and OnePlus to make great improvements to their foldables, their follow-ups to the Pixel Fold 2 and the OnePlus Open 2 this year. I believe those devices give us hope that we have a lot to look forward to this year. But the next rumor that I think could actually be the game changer this year is that Samsung is rumored to also be releasing a mid-range foldable alongside the Z Fold 6. And this mid-range foldable is set to be more affordable, which is key because the main barrier to entry to most people when it came to looking at a foldable device was cost. There have been a number of people that have been interested and curious about foldables, but the price deterred them. So I think if Samsung comes out with a somewhat affordable option and lowers the barrier to entry, we may see a catalyst to the beginnings of mass adoption for these foldable devices. Because right now, they're still considered niche devices, right? Because of the high cost, you're not getting that much adoption. Not to mention there were concerns prior to the last couple of years about the durability of a foldable device. Most people shouldn't have to really be concerned about durability because this device after 7 months has minimum wear and tear and still works like it did when it came out the box. So if this cheaper device option does actually come to fruition from Samsung, an affordable, attainable, foldable device from the Android market leader, I think this can be a game changer. And I think that this could be the catalyst to mainstream adoption. We've already started to see signs of this with Motorola and their cheaper flip style, clamshell style flip phones. They have two options. They have the high-end flagship and they have a mid-range option, which has been more affordable and easier for a lot of people to get into. With the current state of the smartphone market being kind of stale, all the mainstream smartphones have pretty much looked the same for over a decade now. As I mentioned before, we've gotten improvements on the screen front, camera front, battery front. We can go over the list. But if you have a flagship device from the last 3 years or so, you have a solid device. A device with a good camera, solid display, solid battery life, which is why smartphone sales have been on a decline for the past few years. Most users aren't smartphone enthusiasts like me or some of you. So without any major reason to upgrade, many of them are going to stand pat because their device still has a good camera, still runs smoothly, still has a good screen. What real reason do they have to upgrade? But this year I think things may change, especially if that Samsung rumor is true, because there are now consumers that are ready to upgrade their flagship devices, but they're looking for something different. They're tired of the same old, same old. And I can tell you from experience, a lot of them are actually iPhone users. And they're not looking to get an Android device that looks pretty much like an iPhone clone. They're looking for something different. But price will play a major factor as to what device they get. So I have a feeling that a lower priced foldable device from Samsung We'll also push other manufacturers to try to match a device in the same price category. So we have a lot to look forward to. We have the Pixel Fold 2 coming up, and we have the OnePlus Open 2, and then we have the wild cards out there. There are other smartphone manufacturers looking to enter the US market. So we'll see which ones are ready to step into the arena. So I've been going through my thoughts. Will 2024 be the year of the foldable? Well, being a fan of foldable devices, it sure looks like we have a lot to look forward to this year. And I do feel we're entering a turning point, and kind of looking at the tea leaves, it does feel like things are starting to point to consumers having more options from different price points for foldable devices, which leads me to believe that this year, you may be buying a foldable if you don't have one already. What are your thoughts? Do you think this year is the year? Or do you think that foldables won't hit mass adoption until the elephant in the room releases one? Apple, we're looking at you. Let's discuss in the comment section below. I'm interested in hearing your theories on what this year will have to offer. And while you're at it, if you enjoyed today's video, please like, subscribe, and smash that notification icon to get notified when I drop another video. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.